Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. This is John with Tommy's Top Picks here to bring you your weekly market flesh and blood update. I am back in the house, back from Egypt. It was an awesome trip. Very cool to see that part of the world. Highly recommend it at least once in your life if you like ancient societies, civilizations, and magical spells carved into stone for thousands of years and things like that. Very cool stuff. Anyways, let's jump in and get to it. I do not have a lot of time, so I want to get through as much as possible. Got a couple things to talk about. WTR boxes unlimited down 5%, 5.26% to 90. Of the early three, it is now the lowest. How interesting is that? Crew has jumped up 21.95% to $100 a box. I don't see this holding for too long, but we are seeing that upward pressure on all three of these, so I could be wrong. It could stay at 100 forevermore. Obviously, we had a retrace on WTR, but it's still 90 from 95. So I mean, we're in that $100 range for these older three unlimited sets. I love it. It's very interesting. And considering that WTR and ARC first edition cases are now gone, and I imagine boxes will follow soon after, I may adjust this so that we track the early stuff in unlimited and the newer stuff in first edition. Does this make sense? We'll see how it goes. We'll see what happens in the market. But if everything's off of the market like it is for these cases, then there's nothing to track week by week. So might as well put these in their place and consolidate a little bit, make me happier. Anyways, on to Monarch, up 9.62%. A lot of this is on the hype of Dusk and Dawn, Dusk Till Dawn, whatever they're calling that new set that's coming sometime in the summer. Got leaked. I don't know if you guys have heard about it, but it's going to be a light and shadow set. Looks like they're going to revisit Chain and Prism. We don't know if it's the same heroes. Well, actually, it probably isn't the same heroes. They're probably changed. Like Arachne has two different heroes now. And Starvo technically, or Starvo, Bravo Starvo, although that was probably a mistake the way they did that one. It looks like Chain and Prism are coming back in a different format, which is kind of cool. Does mean that the hype around those cards is definitely going bonkers right now. I would say take a breath. So, for example, Husk jumped to the rainbow foil jumped to like $170 a card from 99 pre this announcement or leak, I guess, and it's already down to 104. So it just sold for 104. So just give it some time. It will kill off. We have months until that release. Outsiders isn't even out yet. So as people get hyped on Outsiders, everyone's going to forget about Dusk Till Dawn for months, and all that stuff will come back down. I do intend to pick up Rainbow Foil Angels from the first set from Monarch. You should not be overpaying for this stuff because there's a ton of Monarch. Don't forget that. There's a ton of Monarch out there. It's the first overprinted set. So this stuff isn't rare with the exception of certain, extended arts, etc. So just keep it in mind. That said, that is why these boxes are jumping. I expect them to continue to do well. I actually think Dusk Till Dawn will do well for Monarch First Edition, which has struggled for a long time, and help it kind of move to the next phase of its existence. It's bound to happen eventually. The supply does run out. It's just there was a lot of that one, so it will take longer than the first thing. All right, moving on. Unlimited cases, Crew 30% up, 508. That is crazy jump. I have no idea why that jumped so high. Yeah, it is though. I confirmed it. I can double check for you, but it is. Yeah, nuts. I guess people are just preempting this. I mean, that's an extra 25%. I guess it's premium intact, right? That's pretty healthy actually. It's a lot, right? We had $300 cases for the longest time. I mean, I remember talking about this like, whoa, that's a steal. It's such a cheap for a case, but now we're up at 508. So I guess we missed that opportunity. If you didn't buy your cases, I have some cases on my shelf, so I'm happy about that. I probably won't be selling them anytime soon just because I don't really want to get rid of that stuff yet. I kind of like having that. I have a few things that I'd get rid of, but none of them are going to be ready for sale anytime soon. So I'm kind of just sitting on Fab. I keep saying to Tommy, Flesh and Blood is easy to collect. You just buy stuff, sit on it, and it goes up in value over time. It's like a regular trading card game, like Magic used to be, like it like it always used to be. It's starting to develop into that, which is fantastic. Mon down 10.4% on the cases. We were just talking about this. This may be a steal. I would say be careful. Mon Unlimited was way overprinted, but 223. I mean, that's really cheap per box. Still premium intact a little bit, I believe. We'll look at the chart, but it's close. So yeah, just keep it in mind and know that there is a new set coming out that will probably draw on these cards. So Unlimited will probably dry up pretty quick. Actually, it might even dry up faster than first edition, to be honest. Anyways, players markets, yay! First edition boxes moving on. Tales of Aria up 7.94%. We've seen this dance before. Nothing crazy here. 68, 63, 68. We're back to it. Tales of Aria, the tale that never gets old. Quick shout out 104 for the Mon first edition boxes. It is kind of cool to see Mon back at 100 a box after so long below it. If you guys weren't around when Mon was selling for like stupid amounts, like 400 a box or whatever it was, it was a different time. It was a very hyped market, so seeing it drop all the way down hurt a lot of people in the market. A lot of people left because of it. They were angry. I think they're coming back. I think for them, they see this as a nice discount, even at 104. But just be aware, there's a lot out there. There are literally people that have shelves and shelves and shelves of Mon because it was the one that everyone bought a lot of. Okay, so moving on. As I said, first edition cases of WTR and ARC are no longer listed on TCG Player. So we don't have prices. I'm just going to keep them stable and flat just for the sake of not messing with the data. It's not realistic. We were talking about that weeks before how these prices weren't very realistic anyway, so they're just going to stay there. And like I said, I may eventually drop them completely and just replace Unlimited in this section as these dry up. So basically shifting things down, keeping it all tight into one analysis, one set of charts, one everything. It would be nice for me for purposes of tracking data. Moving on to Mon, first edition cases up 7.36%. Same thing I was talking about before. I imagine it's the hype around Dusk Till Dawn. This will probably retrace, but I don't know how far because it is at that point where we're seeing the upward pressure on the set. It's a bit early, though. It's a bit early. I mean, 57 for these, 508 for that, 423 for a case. Why is... Oh, I'm sorry. 223 for the case. That 508 was crew. 423 for this. It's a big jump. I don't buy on jumps. I buy on dips. And we don't really have a good dip here. We'll see how it goes, though. We've seen slow tick up, tick up, tick up. Pressure, hype, hype, hype. We'll see how it goes. I'm not too convinced that it's overpriced or underpriced at this point. Tales of Aria, first edition cases down 8.47% to 270. We've seen this dance. It's a tale as old as well, 2 or 3 months of back and forth, back and forth. Everfest up 5.53% to 248. This is pretty cool. We were talking about this back here, that it having upward pressure so early is pretty interesting. Do recall that this is probably the most overprinted set of all the sets because UPR was the first 2.0. So they had not adjusted yet. Now the one caveat to that is that Unlimited never came out. They have them somewhere. Theoretically, they're printed in a warehouse. They may be released eventually. I don't know what they're going to do with History Pack 3 when that comes out and should have Everfest in it. Maybe they're cracking them and shoving them in those boxes. I have no idea what's going on. It's that one's a big mystery, so it is a bit unique. I would not put a high premium on it because, like I said, even the first edition was the most overprinted of the series, of the entire game. And we pretty much know that for a fact because that's when they stopped telling us how much they printed. Because they were worried it was going to collapse prices. And they didn't release Unlimited. Another reason to not, you know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of hints that this is the most overprinted ever. So let's be cautious on Everfest. Uprising down 7.91% to 291 from 316. I don't know if this is just a map fall off or what happened here. Either way, it's a 2.0 product, which you know I support and love, and they've been doing a good job with it. I'm not too worried about it in the long run. This may be a good discount buying period if you don't have any. Unfortunately, I made a mistaken buy of it, so I have like an extra case or two. It wasn't a big deal, so I just kept it, and I was like, it's 2.0, whatever, I'll sell eventually. So I have extra, so I can't take advantage of this, but if you were someone waiting to get your case for your shelf or whatever, this is kind of the time. And now, just so you know, from a mental standpoint, in a 2.0 world, 2 sets out, you start to see downward pressure on the oldest set of those 2 sets out, right? So, and in the trilogy of sets, which we aren't really doing anymore because the way the supplements are working now, but, you know, in every 3 sets, you can consider the first of the 3 to be at the best buying point, theoretically, if 2.0 continues to operate consistently, which I have no reason to doubt. Speaking of that, Outsiders is retracing. I know people were very excited about 420. I was too. Oops, sorry, scroll down. About 420, I was too. It's good to see hype on a pre-release. I don't recommend buying on a pre-release because of hype, but it is already retracing, and I fully expect MAP to be available in the market once the product is released. They've been doing a good job of managing supplies, so there's no reason not to believe that. Moving on, I wanted to cover some Marvels here. So some interesting things. Dragons are basically where they were way back, right? $20. The key ones are up to $30, $40, right? Nothing special there. I also wanted to point out, because it's particularly interesting, that we're starting to see the dip and sag on all of these. $295 for the Angel, which I still haven't bought. I will eventually. 59. This has actually been stable, this axe. Exception 156. Sandscour Bow, obviously because of the new set, and then Crown of Dominion, also an exception because generic headpiece, which is it's pretty cool. I think it actually has dipped a little bit though. Hanabi Blaster's at 100. Rock is at 64. This guy is probably never going to come down, but I just thought it was interesting to point out that they are starting to sag as expected, as we've talked about. I think this has actually gone up, probably because of Katsu. But, we talk about good timing to buy this stuff. I am, in the next month or so, probably going to pull the trigger on these Marvels and pick them up for my collection. Slowly, not in any rush, because over the Outsider release hype period, that will probably be the most boring time for most of these, and I'll be able to get a fairly decent discount. I imagine there will be better times to buy individual ones, but I tend to do them as a lot, or most of them as a lot, because it's just easier for tracking purposes, for me. So, for example, this tiara may go down further if we don't see a Rune Blade in the next set, like a new set of Rune Blade stuff. We will. So probably will go up, actually. But certain things, like the Wizard staff isn't very much liked, so it'll probably go down. It basically, things can continue to decline if they aren't hyped for whatever reason, and then things will jump as they are hyped. I personally don't care. I'm not going to, chase pennies here. I'm going to just get the set. With a few exceptions, obviously the Emperor, etc. And then just over the next month, collect them and put them in the binder and be done with it. That's the goal. So I wanted to keep you guys appraised of that because I've been talking about it the whole time. General market, still seeing early rainbow foil, iconic cards being sold. At premiums pretty high, pretty excessive purchases there. I don't think they're fully in buyout mode anymore because a lot of that kind of calmed down. Let's see. That's the first edition. Unlimited rainbow foil. Yeah, there's 23 listed now. So I think they've cooled off from their highs for the most part. But I will say that they are still a good collectible because there are a limited number of them. Oh, what happened here? Now I'm just going in circles. I hate when TCG Player does that. All right. So they are still a good collectible. There are so few of them, and they may be reprinted, but it's not a huge thing. A couple other things to point out. Your traps are being highlighted. Flick Flack is obviously an iconic card. Razor Reflex for Ninja. So we're looking at the Ranger and the Ninja cards coming to the forefront. Not surprising there. Another Ninja card, Surging Strike, is actually called out specifically. This one I thought was interesting, Vipox. Why Vipox? It's a recent card, Uprising. It's 2.0 card, right? What's so special about it? You know what it is? It's a great cheat-in card for Uzuri, and it's probably good in Arachne too, though I couldn't tell you exactly for sure if it is. But basically, if they don't block the stealth card and you sneak this in, then you get a 5 for free, basically. I don't really like that compared to other value you can get out of it, but I can see why people were thinking about it when they saw Uzuri. Herald of Erudition's moving. That's just an iconic angel, and I think that's on the hype of the dark and light stuff. Everything else seems pretty standard stuff. Ranger stuff and Ninja stuff. Yep, that's what you'd expect with this set coming out, right? All right, quick through the charts. Nothing really crazy. WTR Unlimited, premiums intact. ARC, and we still... actually, we have a nice little ARB opportunity here of $8 if you want to buy a case and sell the boxes. Looks like you can do that. $8 isn't enough to make it make a lot of sense unless you get a discount, but hey, And Arc Unlimited is probably not available at a discount anymore. Premium's intact for Crew. Mon, we were just talking about. Okay, so there is a slight dip here to correct. You can see they're meeting, though. This went up, went crazy. This started to follow. Now they're meeting in the middle. We'll see them get to parity soon, I imagine. Tales of Aria, and yeah, nothing crazy there, as in it's still crazy, because it's always crazy. First edition, WTR and ARC are out of, unavailable on TCG Player, so I have no data on that. Premium intact for Crew. Mon is at parity still, but looking very tight, so you might get a couple of opportunities there. Interesting to see this step function here. This looks pretty promising, actually, I will say. I did not expect to see that in the chart. I could have been wrong on my first takes on Mon first edition. It may be reaching for this next tier of activity. Tales of Aria, as always, insane and unstable. And Everfest, nice and stable up and to the right. Good to see that. It's still early, I would say, so be cautious with that. I'd be thrilled if Everfest was being sold out. I don't think it is. I'd be thrilled because I have extra of that. Uprising, that hit the dump, but that's okay. This was the 2.0 post-hype, post-interest section that we're just talking about of the three. It's the oldest, and it probably came off of some map, so expect these kind of dumps to happen. It's good buying time, in my opinion, and I will be taking advantage of that. Well, maybe not with Uprising. Like I said, I have a little extra, so I don't need it, but I might not. Who knows? Dynasty is going up, which is crazy cool that we're seeing Dynasty go up at this stage. We'll see how it goes as things continue, as Outsiders comes out. Having 3 sets in 2.0 will be critical to kind of coming up with the very first patterns of 2.0 markets and what they look like, what we can expect in timing for purchases. So look forward to that in the future. In the meantime, I hope you're out there cracking packs, playing games, getting hyped for Outsiders. You know I am. I've been playing Azuri on Talishar. I am so psyched for that. I did try Riptide. I am not a Ranger player, so that is not my game, but it seems interesting. And I hope you guys are having fun. And until next time, have a good one.